Number 10, Dr. David Clark.
My question is to the Minister of Trade. Does New Zealand's exception for residential property under the investment chapter of the Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement allow a future government to implement a ban on non-resident foreign speculators buying any existing residential house, flat or apartment?
Mr. Speaker. Honourable Paul Goldsmith.
On behalf of the Minister, no. The New Zealand specific exemption has been included in TPP preserves the right for a future government to restrict the purchase of residential property by non-resident foreigners by imposing a discriminatory tax. This, I might add, was one of Labour's bottom lines.
Point of order, Dr. David Clark.
That was a straight question. He answered it immediately. As per last time, on notice, he is using that to attack Labour. Misrepresent, actually.
Order.
Misrepresent.
Order. 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 It was a legitimate question. It was answered immediately, but by a long tradition in this House, we allow the Minister to then give some explanation to that answer. That's what he did. Supplementary question? Supplementary question, Dr. David Clark.
Did he direct his officials to ensure the right of future governments to ban non-resident foreign speculators from our housing market, like Australia, Singapore and others? If not, why not?
The Honourable Paul Goldsmith.
Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the Minister, no, we did not direct negotiators because the government has no policy to outright ban foreigners investing in New Zealand. We've got no desire to build a great big trade wall to keep foreigners out.
Supplementary.
Order. Order.
Australia and Singapore.
Order. Supplementary question, Dr. David Clark.
Does he accept that Vietnam could adopt, quote, any measure relating to land ownership? And why is this so much stronger than the position his government has taken?
The Honourable Paul Goldsmith.
Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the Minister, I'm not responsible for the Vietnamese government negotiations, but what I would say is that this government has negotiated quite clearly the ability for any future government to restrict the purchase of residential property, and we think that's appropriate. And the member opposite is really just trying to justify the unjustifiable, which is his failure to support...
Order. The continuation along those lines certainly won't help the order of the House.
Exactly.
Supplementary question, Dr. David Clark.
Does the Minister accept that preserving the right to ban foreign speculators is a matter of principle, not a matter of price?
The Honourable Paul Goldsmith.
Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the Minister, I am puzzled because one of the 5 Labour Party bottom lines that he referred to as a principle was to restrict the sale of land to foreign owners, not to ban it.
Supplementary question.
Supplementary question.
Supplementary question. Order.
Point of order, sir. Point of order, sir.
Point of order.
I wonder what remedy is available to me if he continues to misrepresent the Labour Party position, which has been published in the media.
Order. It's very, very easily solved. If he picks up his standing orders and looks at Standing Order 359, he will understand and can follow that remedy if he feels it's important enough. Point of order. The Honourable Paul Goldsmith.
I seek leave to table a document dated 23rd of July 2015.
What is the document?
It's a Labour Party press release.
No, I don't need that to help. I don't need that. Supplement. Order. Supplementary question.
Playing games. Isn't the truth that having negotiated a deal in secret with 605 corporate advisors whilst trading away our sovereignty, he is intent on ramming the TPP process through without giving members of the public sufficient time to have their voices heard?
The Honourable Paul Goldsmith.
On behalf of the Minister, no, that's not true. And I do have every sympathy for that member because he is the first trade spokesman of that party not to support free trade. And Mr. Phil Goff will be turning in his political grave.
Order. We don't need any more. Point of order. Order. I have a point of order that I wish to hear.
I seek leave to table my letter requesting the deadline for submissions be extended to the Foreign Affairs and Trade Select Committee dated 29 February 2016.
If it's been presented to a Select Committee, then it's available. Order. It's available to all members if it's been presented. Order. The purpose of tabling a document is not to get it into the public arena, it's to further inform members. If the letter has been presented to a select committee, then it is available to all members of this House by going onto the e-select system. So it is available. If the member wants to put it, I'll hear from the member.
Sir, my understanding is that it's restricted on the system to the members who are on that committee until such time as it's tabled in the House.
Order. It is not. It is available to all members immediately. It was a change made in the standing orders at the end of the last Parliament. It is now available to all members. Question number